Hello and welcome to Unacademy. I welcome you all to this session in which we have to solve a conundrum. And that conundrum is which NCERT to refer for history with so many different rationalizations and changes happening in the NCERT and with UPSC playing games by giving questions out of medieval India. Now, before we start, do understand that the 19999 offer with 12 months extension is going to end very, very soon. So you have to use this opportunity to become part of the Unacademy family. And I hope that you are going to also take into consideration that CSE Assure program is also being provided to you over any subscription which is more than 2 years. Now, let's talk about an issue. So if you look at the UPSC prelims or mains syllabus, it is very clear, in a way it is also vague, that history of India and the Indian national movement is going to come out of history for prelims, which means everything which is referred to as history of India, which would include Delhi Sultanate, which would include Mughals, which would include the Turkish invasion, which would include Alexander, everything comes under this history of India. And the Indian national movement from 1885 to 1947, special mention. Same way, in the mains syllabus, it says modern Indian history, Indian culture, which includes art, forms, literature, architecture from ancient to modern times. Again, which means that ancient and medieval, though political, social and economic history is actually not asked in the mains examination, but because art and culture is part of this ancient and medieval, art and culture of ancient and medieval is there, which means Mughal architecture, the developments in religion during the Mughal period, Delhi Sultanate architecture, all of that remains. What I'm trying to establish to you is a very simple, straightforward concept, which is that UPSC is very clear in saying that there is a certain portion which you have to cover for the examination, and that is the history of India and Indian national movement for the prelims examination. For mains, art and culture, ancient to modern, and thereafter the modern Indian history, freedom struggle, post-independence, and world history, as we saw this year. Now, there is nowhere in the notification of UPSC a mention of the NCERT. It is a tradition which has been, you can say, time immemorial, now close to 30-35 years. My father used to refer to the NCERTs which were published at that point of time. So from 86-87, the idea was that NCERT used to be a very complete resource, and NCERT used to give you a lot of information with regards to the history aspect of the UPSC examination. There is no direct reference to the NCERT in the UPSC syllabus. The UPSC has never claimed that the NCERT is a source out of which it will make questions, and the UPSC has never argued also that the paper is set of the NCERT. So please do understand one thing, NCERT is a certain tradition which is being followed, much like the Hindu newspaper in UPSC universe. In our multiverse of madness, very simply, NCERT is a concept which is used as a good resource. There is no mention of NCERT in the syllabus. There's no mention of the NCERT in the notification. Now, over the years, we have multiple different resources which have developed. For example, Tamil Nadu board books are quite good. Little bit of mistakes here and there, but Tamil Nadu books are better than NCERT in that regard. We have a whole plethora of books which have come into existence for the preparation, from Nitin Singhania to specialized materials such as Spectrum. I have also written the Indian history course where you can refer to that also, but there is a certain, you can say, affinity. A student who has no understanding of UPSC, a student who has no understanding of history would tend to go towards the NCERT. Now, NCERT has been rationalized and changed multiple times. But before I talk about that, I want to establish one thing to you, which is that UPSC is asking questions out of medieval India for sure, be it the 2021 reference, prelims, Delhi Sultanate, be it 2022 reference, again Delhi Sultanate, Mongol invasion, be it 2023 mains question out of science and technology of the Sultanate period. 2024 is a year where there was no question out of medieval India, but now this year's mains has asked a direct question out of Akbar's religious policy, which is what are the main aspects of Akbar's religious policy. So be it the past 5 to 6 years, UPSC is asking questions. And this is where now a student is stuck, and that is the paradox here. The paradox is NCERT is a very important resource for UPSC aspirants. Now the problem is NCERT has been changing. Now if you only refer to NCERT, then you are in trouble because the NCERT has omitted certain aspects of history, and therefore what NCERT to trust. That was the starting premise. That was the conundrum. Now, there have been 5 rounds of revision of NCERT in the past 8 years. And the latest one is the most fundamental because the NCERT itself has changed. In 2017, there was a revision review. It was called a review. And in that review, a lot of things were changed, close to 1,334 changes across NCERTs. In 2018, NCERT again wanted to rationalize. This is called rationalization. Rationalization process happened. Syllabus burden was reduced. Then came COVID, and 2021 edition of NCERT till today. I have these 2 NCERTs, are past 2 and 3. This is 2021. This is the NCERT which was the most trusted at that point of time, one of the best in that regard, because what will happen is in 2022 and 2023, there will be 2 further rationalizations in the name of curricular reduction. And what will happen is in that in 2023 and 2022 ones, first Delhi Sultanate was removed, then the Mughals were removed. What happened was by 2023, the NCERT R past 2, this one, this did not have Mughal India. Now NCERT, an organization which is teaching students, does not want the students to know about the Mughals. That is a separate issue altogether. Every government does it. It is called politics of commemoration and representation. It is the politics of remembering. Everybody wants their own narrative to be there. We don't want to go into that. We have to become IS officers, not activists. So the idea is whatever NCERT is doing, as it is UPSC says, I did not tell you to read this book. You are reading it. Now, the biggest change which has happened is this one. This year, the whole book has been given. The concept of our past 1, 2 and 3, which was in 6th, 7th and 8th, this has been removed and a new book has been introduced which is called Exploring Society, India and Beyond, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. And again what has happened is in this, rather than bringing back the Mughals or the Delhi Sultanate, again Delhi Sultanate, Mughal India is not referred to. Now, what is the paradox? What is the premise? What is the point of having this session? See, UPSC in 2025 has very well established that Mughal India and Delhi Sultanate exists for them in their own understanding. And here we have seen in 2021 and 2022 prelims questions. In 23 and 25, we have seen mains questions. There is enough evidence as the mains syllabus does not change, optional syllabus does not change, the NCERT does not dictate the UPSC syllabus. At the same point of time, NCERT since 2018 till 2025 has systematically removed the Mughals and Delhi Sultanate. That is again a problem which is there, but it is of no purpose discussing it here because that book has now been dumped altogether. Basically, there is no R past series now. What series remains is the what we call as themes in Indian history 1, 2 and 3, which is 12th part 1, part 2, part 3. And now there's a new book. Now, is the NCERT necessary to clear this examination? In history, not necessary. But if you still want to read it, which NCERT to refer to, which one to trust, and what is the combination which you want to use. You can still clear this examination by reading standard books, and that is not something out of the box here. It is a very well known fact that NCERT used to be the base. Now, there used to be a concept called Old NCERT, New NCERT. Now, because there are 3 different versions, which is Old, our past version and Exploring Society, let me establish to you which NCERTs to refer to, if you want to, if you think it is going to constructively contribute to your preparation. If you're part of my course, if you have the course for Indian history, you don't have to refer to the NCERT, but still, if you want to revise, not learn from the NCERT, see, this is the original OG, which is Old NCERT. This is basically the 1986 or what is called as the 1980s series of NCERT written by all three greats, which is the ancient one was written by R.S. Sharma, the medieval one written by Satish Chandra, one of my mentor and teacher, and thereafter Bipin Chandra. Now, unfortunately, all three are not alive today. But what happened was that by the 1990s and 2000s, Orient Black Swan, what it did was it republished all these three NCERTs as books. So R.S. Sharma became India's ancient past R.S. Sharma. Medieval India became History of Medieval India Satish Chandra. And Modern India became History of Modern India Bipin Chandra. Now, basically what I mean to say is students actually don't know it, but they are actually referring to the old NCERT, the OG NCERTs, because they read this set. Now, there is one issue. The issue is that out of these three, only one is comprehensive enough to answer questions in the examination. That is this one or this one. Meaning R.S. Sharma has a lot of information, very good book, but does not have the information in such a way that you can answer questions in UPSC today. The pattern has changed, the statement-based questions has changed, the depth has changed. This one is not that comprehensive. Same Bipin Chandra problem is there because Bipin Chandra was NCERT, has all the information which you need, but you cannot answer questions in the examination. You still see, they all three can create a base for you, but they can't, these two can't answer questions. That is why people refer to Bipin Chandra, India Struggle for Independence also. Because that book, the problem is it starts from 1857, but gives very good mains level understanding. That is a very good point of that book. But again, we need something for advent of Europeans or economic history. So if you have ever referred to this book, this is the most trustworthy. Be it Akbar's religious policy, be it the Delhi Sultanate, be it the concept of what is called as a Turkish invasion, everything is very well covered. This is a very good book. I also use it as a base, very good book in that regard. Now, this means that this is the most trustworthy. In our metrics of trustworthiness, this is the most trustworthy. This you will find on any platform today. If you are referring to them, don't have to refer to them. If you are referring to them, you don't have to refer to them. The same book, only the publication has changed over a period of time. Now, the second OG series, or the second which used to be called new, this used to be called new NCERT, this used to be called old NCERT. This is now the second version of the old NCERT, which has ceased to exist, which is R past 1, R past 2, R past 3. More than that, R past 1, 2 and 3 got rationalized twice in 2022 and in 2023. Now, this version of R past, which I have here, this one has the chapter on Mughals. This one has the chapter on Mughals, which is the concept of Mughal India and has the Delhi Sultans. This is because this is 2021 publishing. If you pick this up after 2022, which is in circulation right now, you will not find Mughal India and Delhi Sultanate. It was rationalized. Now, this book, if you have it with these two chapters, one of the most important, very well summarized, which is Mughal India, chapter number 4 and chapter number 3, Delhi Sultanate, then you can use this book if you have it. If you don't, then using the old NCERT, which is Satish Chandra, is good enough. Same way, this is the R past 3. Very good book on modern India. Very well written, has a lot of information, which is quite good. Again, has a lot of areas which has not been covered. But the tribal section, the 1857 chapter, women, caste and reform, even the concept of economic history, very well covered in this book. Again, 2021 edition. This was again rationalized. In any book which has been rationalized, it will refer to here the year of rationalization. It will refer to here, it will say rationalized 2022, rationalized 2023. It will tell you that You can find it in PDFs. Now, if you don't have these two books, no issues. You can refer to the OG, the original NCERTs, which is this series. You can refer to this series for sure. This is good enough. And I recommend that you read Satish Chandra. Gives you a very good understanding of medieval India. Generally, overarching understanding is very, very good. Now, this does not exist. Rest in peace. Now, these are the three books which have been introduced now. Is there any merit? Is it all negative? No. The 6th class, 7th class, 8th class. 6th class, I'll tell you what to read out of them. This is 6th class. These two chapters, if you want to read for basic understanding of history, if you don't join a guided program, what is BC, what is C, what are the sources which we cover in the first class itself, then you can read these two chapters. But this is a must read. IVC, good chapter, takes into consideration all the new research also. Very good chapter that is. Thereafter, 7th class NCERT, again, very well written. It talks about the Guptas for the first time properly. It also talks about Mauryas and the post-Mauryans for the first time properly. So therefore, this 7th class NCERT can be read. But this is where the real problem is, which is 8th class NCERT. 8th class NCERT, the 8th class NCERT used to be very comprehensive. Now, a good chapter which has been added here is this one, which is the rise of Marathas. Very good chapter, can be read. It's a very good, well-written chapter in that regard. This is a problematic aspect which people have talked about, the perception changing. Again, no need to get politicized in that regard. Colonial era is there. But I would recommend that you go through chapter number 6 out of the 6th class NCERT. All these chapters, theme B in 7th is good, and going through is a must. So then what should be your strategy? See, your strategy should be very simple and straightforward. Foundational knowledge for a student who is doing self-study. I've said this enough times. Anybody who is referring to my course, any of the videos which we have on Unacademy, any guided program, any, you can say, institute, you really don't need to worry about this stage, because I take you from 0 to 100. And if you're referring to, for example, specialized books, you should not worry about them. They take that all the NCERTs into consideration. The Quotient Ministry takes the NCERT into consideration. Before, when I wrote it, I took the NCERTs into consideration. Now, foundational knowledge, you should read the old NCERT. What do I mean by that? Which is 1986 version. And in this, must read this Satish Chandra. Though you will struggle if you have no context, but still, what I mostly like and refer to my students is revision should always be from NCERTs, not learning, because that tends to give you a certain distorted picture, or it becomes very heavy to understand. Plus, I would say that this Exploring Society book which has come through, you read the 6th, you read IVC chapter, read 7th class, all the chapters, and 8th class, you read colonial history and Marathas. It will be very good for you. Generally will create a good understanding. All this revision has also led to some good developments. For example, between class 3rd and 8th, specifically 8th, now Indian art and culture has been added. All the dance forms, all the different, you can say, cultural forms are being referred to. That is a very good development. So therefore, there is good and bad, but the point is there's no point hue and crying over the bad and the good. The whole point is what to do as a UPSC aspirant. If you're a self-student, if you're preparing yourself, then you should refer to the old NCERTs. I'll again show it to you. Refer to this set. It is still the most trustworthy, the best. But the problem is R.S. Sharma and Bipin Chandra are not per se going to give you the depth for the examination. Satish Chandra may. Satish Chandra will even give you the level of understanding to write the answer which came in 2025. This one does not exist, but if you have it, it's a good set of books. You should refer to it. You can refer to it. And if you now are referring to these new Exploring Society, India and beyond, you can refer to the chapters which I have pointed out to. If you are a student in a guided program, you don't need to worry about all of this. It is the problem of the educator to make sure that you are reaching to the point that you can answer questions. I hope that this session has given you a lot of clarity. I've been getting a lot of emails. I get these messages, sir, what to do with regards to NCERT. NCERT is not something referred to. You can always refer to Tamil Nadu board. It's a good set of books. Again, has a lot of resources, bulky but good. You can refer to any standard book which you're referring to. You can refer to Spectrum. You can refer to the Satish Chandra, and you can refer to Punal Laldia. If you want to refer to, you can refer to the Indian history course, whereby me you can refer to any book. But the whole point is, this was a burning question in a lot of people's mind. I hope now it is fully sorted. Thank you. Take care. And I hope that this paradox and conundrum is over. Bye-bye.